now sound? Is sound here? Can't hear. This is a sure. It's a sure. Can you hear now? Can you hear now? You can hear now. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Perfect. Here we are. Okay. Good. Okay. Let's do it. So, anyway, today's format is as usual. We're gonna have about an hour of pre-submitted questions, and then we'll do the second hour. We'll do questions that arise spontaneously here. All right. And where's my feet? I gotta put my feet over here. Yeah, there. Okay. Yep. Good. Feet. Yeah, so that's how it's going to be, and then that's the format. And then just a reminder, we have three groups, and just I'm sure those of you who listen all the time are bored hearing this, but we have three groups: the CFC group, the parasite group, and the health and healing group. CFC is chronically fermenting cells, which is most people call it cancer. We don't use such absurd words. So yeah, we will discuss parasites, sure, of course. But anyway, so the CFC group, which meets twice a week, and on Saturdays, if you're up at that time, we have a special Saturday show at 4 p.m. my time, which is 10 a.m. in Europe and 9 a.m. in UK. And then it's also a good time for Australia and New Zealand, but not such a good time for North America. But we do that specifically for people that are in those areas. But the other times are, Monday and Wednesday evenings, exactly at the same time we started, or we should have started tonight, right? Which would be 7 a.m. for me, 5 p.m. for Arizona, and then wherever you are in the U.S. or Canada. So if it's a parasite group, we'll meet every week on a Monday, and if it's a health and healing group, we'll meet every other week on a Monday. In addition to that, there's other live interactions you have with Vanessa and Darren, who Vanessa's our nutritionist and health coach, yoga teacher. She's got an amazing amount of training and been working with me for many years, so she kind of knows what's happening. She gives a great information, real practical stuff. So she spends time with you as well on your Tuesdays, or Darren, and Darren is the kinesiologist. He's a physiologist who specialized in kinesiology, which is muscles, and which is movement, which is what we all need to be doing. And so he's a very inspiring, passionate, amazing guy, knows a lot about it. And I mean, he'll get you inspired to climb stop signs when you're walking down the street. He's just amazing. So, and then we're gonna have one other guy help us with a former Buddhist monk who's now left the monkhood and he's married, but he teaches us about. Will give us sessions with on meditation. And for those of you who are oriented, you have some religion, and you might think that meditation is in violation of your meditation, and meditation is in violation of your religious, sacraments or faith or belief. It's not, because meditation is not praying to any god, or it's not violating any of that with you. Meditation is just listening, right? Because prayer is talking to God, and Meditation is listening to God, listening for the answer. So it's not at all in violation of any religion, just so you all know that and understand that, because just the word is often misunderstood by certain people who haven't, had a chance to investigate the meaning. All right. But that's good. And the reason that's good is because if we don't learn to calm our mind, if we don't learn to um, control our mind, it goes after us. Right. And it's, you know, every time your mom was saying, you better not do that. You're gonna fall. You're gonna do. What are you talking about? What, you're not eating? Oh my, all that chatter that goes on in our heads. Um, you can't control it. You can't decide not to think something. You can't say, I'm going to stop thinking that this particular thought or line of thinking. You can't, because thinking is an automatic process. It just happens, like it or not. You're going to think. Um, so thinking is a happening, not a doing. It's a happening, not a doing. And the thing is, you have to learn how to turn it off, and that's the only thing we can do. We can't direct it. We can't decide what we're going to start thinking. Right. So anyway, and when we turn it off, we're in peace. Okay, that's where peace is. Okay, right. And so yeah, so there's someone commenting on Christ, and when we think about what did Christ do? 40 days in mountains, prayer and meditation. You know, and meditation is just just being. It's just being. It's just being. It's not considering. Because what is thinking? Thinking, you realize that thinking is taking you out of the present. When you're thinking about either what's going to happen, what did happen, what could happen, should happen, might happen, could have happened, should have happened, maybe, and if. But you don't think about what you can't think about now. You can only experience now. So in order to experience now, you have to not think, right? So that's what it is, and so it needs to be understood. So anyway, but that's what Tencent helps us with. He'll be giving us that. And there's different ways of doing it. And see, because just cooling it off a little bit here. It's warm already instead of 7 in the morning. If what was I going to say? Anyway, forget it. I forgot it. So anyway, and by the way, also in being in these groups, you also have access to all the webinars. There's a lot of webinars on. There's a lot of maybe forgotten podcasts that you might not have seen, or there's and some of the podcasts I did with others, like for example, I interviewed Dr. Donato Perez Garcia III, whose grandfather discovered IPT, what we call insulin potentiated therapy, which got named not until the probably 1980s, 70s, 90s. Prior to that, didn't really have a name, so it wasn't always called IPT. It was just a way of delivering chemotherapy in low doses. Okay. Now, yeah, that's it. And just as a reminder, if everyone is interested in fasting, bloated greens. Okay, bring that up when I get to you to past the pre-submitted questions. Please bring that up again. That's a very important topic. But just if you're interested in fasting, I did the book that I wrote, which is a manual to help, just like the how-to. Let's do it. Let's do it. Right there. There's a picture of it. Let's do it. Therapeutic fasting, a clinical manual for metabolic reset and renewal. So because there's so much. I mean, you should see some of the stories of people who said they fasted and it was a horrible experience, and it's because you don't prepare. You need to prepare, and then and prepare for it and then do it correctly. And if you do it correctly and prepare for it, it will be a wonderful experience. So it shouldn't be a horrible experience. Um, and then, of course, in the book are ways of if some people absolutely cannot because they're on certain medications or they're in a certain state of health that is not compatible with it, and they have to correct that first. And we go through that. So very important. But anyway, just wanted to remind you that's out there now. Um, so let's start with questions. I don't think it's on Audible yet, so I'm sorry. There's an ebook, a soft cover, and then a hardcover. Okay. Okay, the first question is from Linda, and it says, I have had metastatic breast CFCs to my bones and liver. I take various supplements, but scans show progression in bones and liver. Any help is much appreciated. Okay, Linda, sure. And great, Andrea, fantastic. Just and this is not this is for Linda, but this is also for everyone else to please listen to this. The question is, I'm taking these supplements and I've got metastatic CFCs, but it's still progressing. So you understand what our thinking is, and this by this question we know that the thinking is this: what is it I need to do, intervene to stop this? It's it's based on jeez. It's based on the implication is that there's this thing inside of me that I need to get rid of, and all I need is the proper tools and weapons, and I can get rid of it, because otherwise I'm fine. And that's kind of the Rockefeller playbook. That's the Rockefeller story. That's the game. That's the disease land story, right? And that's not correct at all. And that's why it's always failing, because it's failing because it's not correct. It's like, you know, so there's not a third party foreign body thing that got into you like a monster, like an entity that has taken over and is taking over your body, and you've just got to find the right weapons to subdue it. That's not what's happening. What's happening is your body is doing what it always does, and that is it's adapting to whatever situation we put it in. If we're exhausted, or if we're malnourished, or if we're overnourished, or uh, angry, all the different things that we're doing in our lives are affecting our cells, and our cells have to adapt. And that's what they're always busy doing, is adapting. And they're using the tools they have, and the tools they have are available in their DNA. The DNA says, okay, if this happens, you can do this. But who decides what needs to happen? It's the cell membrane. The cell membrane that's in the environment of where the body of where the cells are located, in an area that is, blood is carried through the arteries, arterioles, capillaries, diffuses over into the interstitial fluid. Then you've got the cells that are swimming in this fluid, and it's not it's not really a fluid. It's really more of a crystalline matrix. And the water in there, the water is, because a lot 70% of our blood plasma is water. But it's not necessarily in the form of H2O. Most of it's in H3O, and it's kind of, and it doesn't let anything pass through. It's sort of like what they call, well, it's called EZ water, but it's and because of its molecular configuration, it only allows electrons through. So actually, even large molecules like hormones and peptides and proteins and all this stuff, never actually come in contact with your cells. That's pretty amazing. So, but they are, they're in this matrix and they're communicating, and they communicate through this special kind of water. And the water is, I mean, you drink H2O, but when it gets in, it gets processed through, it becomes this special water. And this water is what allows the communication, the protection, all that of cells. But anyway, so the membrane of the cell is going to see that, well, maybe there's a lot of estrogen. We have to slow down the estrogen production. So, and if this is an ovary, and anyway, so what is done by the cell is in response to what's going on in its environment. It's not that the cell decides to do stuff, except when we're growing. As the embryo is growing, then the cell is just moving along in uh, it's a genetically determined pathway. However, it's doing it in response to the environment in which it is. And then once the growing has stopped, pretty much what's happening is the cell is now responding to its environment. Um, and of course, liver cells can only do liver stuff. Kidney cells can only do kidney stuff. So, those are limitations there. But anyway, so when a cell with breast CFCs, Linda, what happens is when a cell loses its ability to use oxygen through its mitochondria, or any cell, doesn't just have to be breast. Any cell loses its ability to use oxygen. It goes into a default mode of energy production called fermentation. And fermentation is a very inefficient way. You get a very low yield of energy for every glucose, so you need a lot more glucose. And that's what happens. So the cell has to make these epigenetic changes, which means it just silences one gene and it silences the gene. In other words, it's not going to be expressed, and then it causes this gene to be expressed. And it goes through these various changes so that now the whole metabolism is geared towards getting more glucose and using it because you're going to go through fermentation. You're not going to go the other way. So it kind of changes that operating system. That's what happened. And what they call the various gene silencing, things like that. The gene silencing or turning a gene on or turning it off. They're calling those oncogenes, as if they are genes that are causing the CFCs. It's not at all what's happening. They are necessary for the cell to successfully live on in fermentation, which, as I said, is very inefficient. So once that's happened, you've got a new epigenetic code. Epigenetics is every cell has the genes of the whole body, but it's not expressing all those, right? Your liver cell is only expressing liver things, and your heart's only expressing heart. Okay, but it's got everything else silenced, but it still has all the DNA. So it's the same thing. So when a cell becomes a CFC, it's not going to express. So you have other breast cells, but this cell, it said, is not going to be expressing the same genes as the others because it needs to survive in a different operating system. And that's what's happened. So the epigenetic code or expression has been modified, and that's what's happened. So now this cell can succeed as a fermenting cell. We call it a CFC, chronically fermenting cells. So now, in light of that understanding, what do we need to do? Well, we need to, first of all, eliminate anything that was causing the loss of the mitochondria in the first place, because as that keeps happening, it's going to be making more and more CFCs. So we got to stop that process. Yeah. And so we've got to find all the toxins that may have been doing that. Okay. So that's called detoxification, right? We've got to get rid of all toxins, and it starts with your head, right? With your dentistry, your biological, what's going on with your head, root canals, what do you call it? Extracted teeth, just periodontal conditions, all that. And you got to just clean everything out. And you just start with the juice cleanse, a good healthy juice cleanse, which is about 90% fresh vegetables and a little bit of juice for flavor because it must taste good. Um, and you just, you know, 6 weeks, as much as you can, as long as you can. Now you can go on for 6 months. I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying you can because you're getting plenty of nourishment. Um, the only reason people stop is because they have a desire to smell, taste, chew, and swallow. Because we love to smell, taste, chew, and swallow. That's just what we like to do. And but it's not that you can't. But the longer you do that, you're going to be cleaning out all the junk, and you'll be getting highly, you'll be incredible amounts of nutrition just in one liter of juice. You can do that. Then we got to bring into systems into balance because what's happened is there's an imbalance. We've got to bring the hormone system into balance. We've got to bring the gastrointestinal system into balance. We have to bring the immune system into balance, and we have to bring the autonomic nervous system into balance. Sympathetic parasympathetic, and then we have to learn to shut up the mind again, like we mentioned earlier. And we do all that, and all of a sudden we're going to find out that we no longer the CFCs aren't there. You got to do that. You got to do it all. But that's a lot. What I just said is a lot to do. And it's very much a lot of detail, Linda. So it's not like I can just tell you the whole story right now, but I wanted to give you the overview. And so with that overview, please join the CFC group because you'll get all this information and more, and you'll get 1,000 friends who've been on this journey for a little while. And we're all helping each other. It's a wonderful, wonderful community. It's an amazing community. All right. It's a community of friends, real friends. They don't want anything from you except your happiness and health. That's all they want. And they want it for themselves too. So it's pretty cool. But you'll get a ton of information and how to do this step by step. How do we do it? And then every week we're meeting twice a week. So we're, helping each other. Yeah. And so that's what we got to do. But for sure, and especially it's in your bones, your liver. So what's happened with you is we for sure haven't gotten rid of what's causing it in the first place. So it's going to keep happening. Number one. Number two, the immune system is not being able to do its job because it's being damaged, and so that's basically what we have to work on. Next question is Pamela, and this is alternative CFC therapies. I have follicular B-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I have swollen lymph node. Would it be okay to have a lymphatic massage for drainage? Absolutely. By the way, Pamela, I just had, I don't know. I know we made them. I'm not sure if they've been released yet. Some video reels on lymphatics, but absolutely. So one note here: at the follicular B-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is just a name, and it doesn't say anything. All it's saying is that these particular cells, these follicular B cells, right, which we all have, are chronically fermenting. And listen, because when they look at it with a microscope, it doesn't have these things called Reed-Sternberg cells because it doesn't. It's called a non-Hodgkin's. If it does have it, they call it a Hodgkin's because Hodgkin's found it. The guy named Hodgkin's. You have to understand this is ridiculous stuff. Okay, so it's a it's a follicular B, a B cell in the follicle. That's all. A B cell. What is a B cell? A B cell is a kind of lymphocytes. What kind of lymphocytes do we have? We have B cells and T cells and natural killer cells. Those are the lymphocytes. Okay, so of the B cells, that's in the follicle. One is in the follicle, a follicular B cell. So therefore, it's not a Reed-Sternberg. So it's just a repeat. Is fermenting. That's all it says. But it sounds like it's something different than somebody who has a pancreatic CFC. It's not. It's the CFC is in the pancreas, or the CFC is in the bone, or in wherever it is. It's still fermenting, chronically fermenting. It's not doing anything differently than in another location. Okay, so that so we get thrown off by this vocabulary. It's on purpose, believe me. So. And so you have swollen lymph nodes, right? Well, of course, this is where B cells hang out, is in lymph nodes. So would it be okay to have lymphatic massage for drainage? Absolutely. Because if you don't drain, you have a swamp, right? Drain. So a fresh rolling, flowing river is full of life, and you can drink out of it. It's good water. But when that water slows down, when that river slows down to a stream, which then slows down to a pond, which is what of course the conventional uh, warlocks and witches in the House of Horrors say is like if someone's had some lymph nodes removed because of a breast CFCs, don't don't do any lymphatic massage. Let it get turn into a swamp and get worse. That's what they're saying. Oh, thank you so much, Fruit Sugar Love. Thank you. Um, um, yeah, so the idea that we should not do lymphatic massage has always blown my mind that they even came up with that. But I shouldn't be blown away anymore. But because we know that the reason we have a lymphatic system is to it's part of our drainage system. So when you cut off if you cut off all the like if all the lymph nodes are matted or have been removed in someone's armpit here and the lymph can't drain, you'll see your arm will get this big. You it's gotta drain, it's gotta flow. And when things are not flowing, they just sit around, they get stagnant and funky. So yeah, the answer is yes, Pamela. Absolutely. And a lot more. Remember, you got to join the CFC group. drlodi.com, drlodi.com, you can join it. Okay. Here's Peter with melanoma. My father has stage 3 squamous cell carcinoma. About 8 months ago, his oncologist recommended radiation and chemotherapy. Of course they did. What the hell? What else are they going to recommend? They don't know anything else. What if you go to an oncologist? What do you think you're going to say? I want you to do a colonics, a fast, and go see your biological dentist. Yeah, right. So the oncologist surprisingly recommended radiation and chemotherapy. Oh my God, where did they must have really been thinking a lot about me. But we've been delaying treatment while following Dr. Lodi's protocol instead. Over the past several months, he's lost a significant amount of weight, dropping from about 200 pounds to 145 pounds. He has become very weak, and the tumor on his neck appears to be getting larger, although I'm not sure if it only looks that way because of the weight loss. Where am I? Okay. He's also been doing a parasite cleanse and following various alternative treatments. One thing that may be relevant is that he's still a heavy smoker. At this point, we're very concerned about his condition and are wondering what the best course of action might be. Would it make sense for him to proceed with treatment now, perhaps even chemotherapy alone, if he doesn't want to do both chemo and radiation? Any insight or experiences would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. All right, Peter. So yeah, I'm still looking because the topic was melanoma, so that must have been a mistake because we're talking about squamous cell carcinoma. And the only difference between melanoma and squamous cell carcinoma is where the CFC started. If it started in a melanocyte that produces melanin, we would call it a melanoma. If it starts in a squamous cell, which is also in the skin, then it's a squamous cell carcinoma. The only difference is location. Anyway, so by the way, I gotta say something. It's some friends of mine, some Thai people, came over last night, and this one woman is, she's got to be the best Thai chef I've ever tasted. Foods that I've tasted. Because there are things you can eat that are, of Thai food, like som tam. Som tam is raw papaya salad. And they make it spicy depending on your ability to handle spice. Too much of it, and you're running to the bathroom every um, 10 minutes. But there's somtam and there's ganglion, which is an amazing you can make an amazing vegan vegetable soup, but it's not raw. But anyway, it was fantastic. But she came over late. I mean, they came over late, and I wound up eating late. You know, you never eat late and then go to bed. It's like worst thing in the world, unless you want to be a Pillsbury Doughboy the next day. So anyway, but it was really fantastic. You guys ever do this again? You got to come over earlier. But it was pretty good. Amazing, amazing. You know, one thing people don't think about with Thailand. Or I guess they do, because you think of Thailand as a beautiful place to be and a place to have fun party, but it's also amazing food. And there's so much fruit and vegetables. I mean, you can if all the supply lines were cut off here. I mean, it was World War X, and there was nothing available. You could survive. Well, not in Bangkok, but here you could easily. It's just growing. You know, if you park your car long enough, you're gonna have a fruit tree growing out of it. So now, anyway, sorry, getting back to Peter. Would it make sense for him to do chemo? No, no, no. I mean, if I can't say for your father, because I really, haven't. He's not like, I haven't seen him, examined him. I haven't looked at his blood tests. I really can't tell you what he should do, but I can tell you that what I would recommend to anyone, if I were working with them, is what I recommend, what we just went through. Now, he went from 200 pounds to 140 pounds, 5 pounds. I'm sure a lot of that was a nice thing that happened, because I'm sure a lot of it was stored toxins in fat. And what probably is not, when you're thinking he's probably weak and all that, it's because a lot of it might have been, or a good portion of it might have been muscle. Right, so he's lost muscle and fat. So the losing the fat was fine, but keeping the muscle, and there are ways of maintaining the muscle. And that's why when you're in our groups, we work with Darren, and so we work with keeping our type 2 muscle fibers, so that we don't get sarcopenia, which is loss of muscle mass and strength. We specifically work on that. So that's one thing. But and yeah. There are lots of things to do. The cleansing, the biological dentistry. Listen, Peter, yes, and at this point, it doesn't sound, if all you're noticing is that it's getting larger, but there's not a compromise in physiology yet, then there's nothing urgent yet. It sounds like. I don't know. Remember, I can't really tell you specifically about your father, but I'm just saying, from what I'm hearing, or imagining hearing from what I'm reading, is that the only thing you notice that it's growing, so it's not an urgent thing. So of course you could be paying that with 7% Lugol's iodine, and you'd be using DMSO. There's other things you could be using on it specifically, directly. And you've done the biological dentistry, you've done the cleansing, the colonics, you're doing all this stuff. You're getting your vitamin C. There's just so much to do. Yes, 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 yes. That the chemo may or may not be necessary. And if chemo is necessary, you don't have to give it in large doses. You can give it in what is called metronomic chemotherapy, and then which is very low dose, and or IPT, which is just as metronomic chemotherapy with insulin. So yeah, a lot to be done. It sounds like he's still okay. The smoking thing, you're gonna have to continue working with him on that. But diet, in fact, here's the thing. If someone changes their diet and eats healthy, really eats healthy, they can't smoke. They won't smoke. You don't even have to talk about the smoking. So if someone were like an alcoholic, or a drug taker, or a smoker and all that, if you could get them to really, really, really eat real food, they won't do those other things, because it will just go away. That's the amazing thing. That's amazing. It's just amazing. They won't be able to, because it won't be able to. So you don't even have to even focus on that. Just change the diet, do the cleansing and all that, and that'll go away, just like all the other habits that just don't feel good anymore. Really. So Peter, drlodi.com, and join the CFC group. Otherwise, because it sounds like you're in a situation you're really going to need our support, and and I'm there twice a week with you, and all the information you need, the information, the basic program. What do I do? How do I get started? Daniel, Daniel, parasites. Question: what would be a general deworming protocol for a man, woman, 120-pound person with a healthy lifestyle? How much ivermectin and benzol daily? Excuse me. Many thanks and God bless you. Thank you very much. Um, well, uh, okay, so deworming, the parasites are not just worms. There are worms, and then there are the protozoa, and then there are the ectoparasites, which we're usually not thinking of. We're usually thinking of the worms and the protozoa. So for the deworming, of course, that would be ivermectin. For the healthy person, 12 milligrams 3 times a day. Fenbendazole would be 222 milligrams 3 times a day, or mebendazole 500 milligrams 3 times a day. And then niclosamide 500 milligrams 3 times a day would be the deworming. Healthy person, liver's great, everything's good. Unless they had a particular allergic or idiosyncratic problem with a particular drug. But and then the protozoal, the antiprotozoal, because that wouldn't be the deworming, it'd be deprotozoing, deprotozoing, deprotozoing. It's not a word, and it's not going to let us make it up either. Anyway, would be nitazoxanide, nitazoxanide. The brand name is Alinea, and the reason for that is, of all of them, you've got metronidazole, tinidazole, and nitazoxanide. The reason I prefer the nitazoxanide is because a lot of people have a problem with metronidazole. Yeah, I mean, I know a woman who got this cerebellar ataxia. She has a neurological complication from taking metronidazole. It's not unknown. You can look it up. And then, other problems. People they vomit. They don't feel good. And tinidazole is the kinder cousin. But nitazoxanide doesn't have that at all. And nitazoxanide, the cool thing about it is it not only gets. Thank you, Larry. I got distracted again. The nitazoxanide is it not only gets the protozoa, but also some of the worms as well. And that would be 500 milligrams 3 times a day. And then the antifungal, the reason we throw that in is because when there's accumulation of it, when it starts working, we have the remains of parasites around, help to recycle it are the funguses. So we do want them around. So you don't want to take that all the time, but you could, so there's varying, and every person has to really approach this. I want you to all realize that you are smart and that you know your body, and that you don't need him or she or it to tell you what to do. Okay. You're living in your body, and you're going to know, if I took that, I don't feel quite good. So you don't take it again. Okay. So the question is, how much should I take the antifungal? Well, let me do it on the week off. So I do 3 weeks on of the dewormers and the deprotozoals, right? Okay. 3 weeks of that on. And then 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week. And then, so let me try the antifungal on the week off. Or how about every other week off? Or, in other words, because we do need those funguses to clean up the mess that's going to occur. That's why when I don't really want to just answer questions, you guys. I don't like to answer questions, because you're not really looking for answers to questions. You're looking for understanding. And if I can give you this understanding, you're going to figure out not only the answer to this, you'll be able to answer it yourself, but you'll be able to, other questions won't arise because you'll have understanding. And if they do arise, you'll be able to answer it. So we're again, um, it's all about balance. Are we get we if we wind up we if we wind up getting an over more funguses than um, that are healthy for a healthy balance, then that's a problem, right? And but the antifungal, the question, I've always had a problem with the antifungals because do we need them or do we not need them? And so now if someone has an obvious fungal problem from the beginning, fungal overgrowth, it's not that because we don't see we got to get there's no morality in biology, right? There's not good and bad funguses are bad or we need them. We need that. We need anaerobic bacteria, we need bacteria, we need protozoa, we don't really need worms, but we need so they're not on our they're not yeah, they'll just never be on your shopping list. But these other ones we need in certain amounts, in certain proportions. So if you're winding up with a lot of funguses because they're being fed, they found a place, uh, they found some empty parking spots and they're being fed. So we have to restore balance. So when do we use the antifungals? Well, that's something we have to decide and determine ourselves from how we're responding. So I don't really include though. I mean, like when I'm working with someone, I wouldn't really necessarily include that. I don't say it. You need that. It's something that we'll come to down the line if necessary. All right. But that's it. That's if you're, healthy. You got a healthy liver. If your liver enzymes are elevated and all that, then you've got to really modify how that you're going to get into this. And everyone needs to keep in mind too that if any particular drug or thing you're taking doesn't makes you feel terrible, then you stop taking it. Right? Don't. So you've got to be because you're the one on the front lines. It's you, and you'll know more than anybody. And you can't ask somebody else how you feel. That's how far we go. Yeah. All right. Next question is Natalie. And the topic is chronic inflammation. And the question, hello, if a person has lots of different neurological symptoms around the body, weakness, tingling, burning, pain 24/7, also very strong brain fog. Excuse me. GI gastritis problems, infections, environmental toxicity, etc. Is it possible to get better in this situation? Used to work with a few different functional doctors in the past, but without positive outcomes, still gradually getting worse. Okay, well, Natalie, is it possible to get better? Yes. Yes. 100% yes. So you pretty much sound like you've just, you've got it all going on, which means you're just in general, a basic impression here, extremely toxic and out of balance. Out of balance because of the toxicity. Why do we get out of balance? We get out of balance because we're not getting enough of something that we need. It's a deficiency, or we're getting too much of something and it's beyond what we need. It's now causing problems, or we're getting a toxicity, which just means something I never needed in the first place. Right. Then I got to get rid of. So deficiencies, excesses, and toxicities. Right. And so, so Natalie, that's what's going on. And that's why, yeah, chronic inflammation for sure. But chronic inflammation is the response to all of this. Because remember, inflammation is the way the body heals, acute inflammation. But when it's chronic inflammation, it means that the assault keeps happening. And so now the body has to it stops trying to heal and protect itself from the assault. And so, so what do we got to do? I mean, it's really clear, Natalie, what you got to do. And you can join our health and healing group, right? Meet every other week. It's it's the least expensive of them all. I think it's $25 a month. But anyway, and just to get all the resources and people to help and get my input and stuff like that along your journey. Because the journey, whatever we answer today and whatever we answer, even if we have a consult, you could, I do consultations too, private consultation. But even if we have a private consultation, that's just one day. Because what are you going to do next week on Thursday and stuff like that? So we've got to keep it going, and instead of paying for a consult every time, just join the groups and then, so yeah, okay, Yvette, you're very right about the cost of the CFC group, and I need to, I need to work on that, because what we did, we had it in tiers, so that after you've been there 6 months, it goes. By the end of 9 months, I think it's down to $90 a month. And maybe I gotta relook at that. So Yvette, and so Hammy, remind me of that. We got to relook at the beginning price of that, because it's, I agree with Yvette there. Um, so Yvette, for now, just join the Parasite group. You get a lot of the very much the same benefits, and as soon as we work out the thing with the CFC, you can join it, because there are more benefits. Yeah, but for now, do that. Um, so Natalie, you've got chronic inflammation going on. Yes, because that means you have a chronic assault, and you've already identified a lot of it. I mean, you're talking about environmental toxicities. Okay, so, and your gastritis, your gastrointestinal problems for sure. And the brain fog is just a consequence of all of this. And your neurological and your weakness and all that tingling. So it's just crazy as it might seem. It's much simpler than it seems. Just got to by getting rid of the toxins, 90% of this is going to be better. And quickly. So what you got, number one, you got to find yourself a biological dentist and make sure you don't have something like, do you have root canals? And do you have extracted teeth? Well, that's where you're going to have problems, and you got to have a biological dentist go in and take care of it correctly with ozone, platelet-rich fibrin, and the whole thing, and lasers, whatever they need to do to take care of that. And then you need to go on a really long juice cleanse, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Don't not start a water fast right now, because you're extremely toxic. It'll be a really rough water fast. So it'd be much more beneficial for you to do a good, healthy juice cleanse for a long time. Get some colonics or do daily enemas, and then and movement, and go to sleep early, and then start taking the vitamin C and all the things that we read. Just if you do all this, you're going to find out that, wow, I'm okay, actually. Yeah. And you don't need to work with functional doctors, because you are the boss. You are your gateway to health. Because they can't. All anyone could ever do is recommend that you do something, or they could give you something. You don't need things. You need to unthing. You need to get rid of stuff. And yes, you do need you need to take care of deficiencies for sure. That's what, so in nutrition, and that will include, vitamin D and vitamin C, and other melatonin. We've got to balance your hormones. We've got to do all that. But we start with getting rid of the toxins, because until, you're not going to fix your toilet until it's unclogged. You got to unclog it first, and then you can fix it. You're not going to fix the bathroom, so, that's where we start. And so that's what you go. And while you're looking for a biological dentist, because you're going to go to IAOMT, International Association of Oral and Medical Toxicology. They're the ones that actually train and certify biological dentists worldwide. You can find a certified one in your area, not just no, these sniffles, I'm pretty sure, Darlene, thank you. It's my cats. I don't know. I had these people come in who dust everything, because my normal maids are like not doing quite a good job. And by the way, the only thing I'm like, he's got maids. It's pretty standard here in Thailand. You just, because it's part of it comes with when you rent a place. So, it's not every place, but I'm just saying. So it's, uh, but anyway, yeah. So when I'm out of here, I'm not sniffling so much. So anyway, plus I eat cooked food. So I mean, there's no. I mean, you eat cooked food, forget it. You know, cook food, and then at night, forget. That's it. That's it. Want to do. So I did exactly the opposite of what I would recommend. Exactly the opposite. And so here it is. Here it is. You know, if you plant a cucumber seed, you get a cucumber. Yeah. Um, or not. Anyway. So anyway, Natalie, actually your situation is easy, simple. You're going to be amazed at just doing just getting started. So as I said, while you're looking for your biological dentist, start the juice cleanse. Celery, cucumber, kale, spinach, celery, cucumber, kale, spinach, celery, cucumber, kale, spinach, add lemon and apple. Celery, cucumber, kale, spinach, add lemon and apple. And then add whatever you want. Make it delicious. Don't make it crazy sweet. Make it delicious. Drink 3 liters, quarts a day. If you can't, you won't, then you'll drink water, but you'll make stay to be well hydrated. So drink as much as you can. Don't eat any solid food, and go to bed early, and clean out. And you're going to see after day 3, 4, you're going to say, "Well, I guess I'm not really hungry." Yeah, and you'll find out you're not hungry, and you keep cleaning and cleansing and cleansing, and you're going to find underneath all that inflammation, there you are. Oh, by the way, that's a guarantee. You got any guarantees in medicine? No. There's no guarantees in medicine, but there is guarantees in physiology. Because physiology is physiology, and it ain't going to change. You're not going to change it. Even if you modify the anatomy by cutting this off and cutting that off and adding this and adding that, you're still going to have the physiology is physiology. Biology is biology. It's not changeable. Of course, they're working on it with their mRNAs to change our biology, but so don't go along with the stories. By the way, you don't have an mRNA deficiency. Okay, I'll do the last one here. This is Lewis. Topic is Rife Machine, Dr. Lodi. I wish I found you 4 years ago, before the medical mafia put my 57-year-old wife through the CFC grinder. Do you know if a real Rife machine exists? I tried to get my wife to do it fast, but she was already in the spell of the colonoscopy diagnosis. The radiologist forgot to put something in her vagina and fused it shut. Whoa. Next, they gave her estrogen cream that warned in the literature causes uterine CFCs, which she got 3 years later. Then the butcher of Cleveland did a robotic hysterectomy, which spread the CFCs to her peritoneum, and she also suffered ascites. I did find a doctor that did vitamin C and alpha lipoic acid and mistletoe, but by then she was far too gone. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Lewis. My. I hear you, man. I hear you. Yeah, medical mafia. Yeah, Rocky and the boys. I mean, yeah, warlocks. Cause even like Al Capone and all that. They're not warlocks. They're gangsters. These guys aren't gangsters. These guys are big time warlocks and witches. But anyway, so Rife machine, yeah, there are. There's the GB4000, and then there's the other one you guys like. Come on, you guys. What's the other one? The Spooky 2. Yeah. Okay, those are 2 I know. Now these are frequency generators. But remember, the secret of Rife was to find out which frequencies, and he had a specialized microscope with these German-made crystal lenses, and he was able to actually determine the frequencies needed. And then it was only like his treatment for stage 4 CFC was um, I think it was 3 minutes. I mean, it's ridiculous. 3 minutes every third day, and all 16 out of 16 were 100% of resolved. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because he had the right frequency. So that's the thing when asking questions about the Rife machine, or looking into it, we have to understand that that's where that's what's hidden. There are, and I'm sure there are other frequency generators other than the GB4000 and the Spooky 2 that are good, that produce proper frequencies. But the question is what? So what they do in these two that I talked about is you do a sweep for sure. You go with you. It spends it generates the frequencies for like a certain time, like maybe a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then switches frequencies, and it goes through the whole spectrum of in the area where CFCs would be, or if you're looking for parasites, or because they all have different what do you call it? Parameters that define where their frequencies would be. And then, and any one of those that would give someone what's called a Herxheimer, they start feeling bad because the concept is that you've got the right frequency, and you're causing they're causing they're not able to breathe anymore or live, so that cause problems. Herxheimer. So you go, oh no, so then they go back. You go back to that one. You do that one for like every other day or so. Can't do these every day. Or you'll get a good healthy regimen. Whoever you buy it from should give you a good, protocols on how to use it. If not, you can join groups that know. So that's kind of the way of finding it out. But what I'm really surprised at is that no one has that, with all the different Rife machines that have come up over the last 20 years that Rife has been brought out of the ashes of obscurity, that no one's come up with a frequency, a way to determine which frequencies. That's kind of odd. Because remember, this guy, he was, his findings were being corroborated by all the great scientists of that era, in the 30s of 1930s, late 20s, 30s, and they were saying, yeah, they'd go to his lab and they go, yeah, he's right. Oh, he's doing it. And that's why at USC they took USC CFC Center, Cancer Center. They gave him 16 what they call terminally ill CFC patients, and he took all 16 and worked with them, and within a period of time, they were all 100% of them were resolved. 3 minutes every third day or something like that. Really, not a lot. But all of his equipment and information and books were taken away by what was his name? He was at the AMA. Feinbein, Fishbein. What was his name? Max Fishbein. Anybody remember the name of the guy that was running the AMA during those eras? Get out of here. The AI intrudes itself into you now. You got to now fight to not have it. By the way, you guys, please come on. No, not Rockefeller. Max Fishbein was Max Fishbein. Feinbein. Let's see. Let's see if that. Come on, you don't pretend like you haven't. I didn't say rice. Oh, yeah. Dr. Fishbean. Here we go. Is that it? Okay. Dr. Fishbean. This is a digitalized version of an article from, then you know you can't trust it. Yeah, Dr. Morris Fishbean, editor of the Journal of the American Medical Association, said today that his status as editor and as spokesman for the AMA was not affected by the association's employing Raymond Rice Associates, a New York public relations firm, stating that there never has been any question of who was editor of the journal. What are you talking? See, they've misdirected us into some other nonsense. But that's what it was. Max Fishbein. He was the head of the AMA in those days, and that's what happened. So Royal Raymond Rife, who was basically using Tesla technology um, and having incredible results, because we all know, most of us know that life, that existence, and the physical reality, the physical, what they call the phenomenal universe, is fundamentally frequencies. That's what it is. I mean, even a thing that we call a solid, a rock, is frequencies. You know, it was made up of carbon, silicon, whatever it's made, nickel, whatever it's made of is frequencies, because that's how we know what, every atom on the periodic table, which defines physical existence, has a frequency. And that's how they can tell you the makeup of a distant star by its frequency. So they can say, well, there's this much, carbon, cadmium, whatever. So the universe is frequencies, and he just said, okay, well, let me just find the frequency of the problem and then send that same frequency back. It'll double it, and that is no longer there. It's very simple. But yeah, so Lewis, there are, and the GB4000 is, I think, easy to use, but I'm sure the Spooky 2 is as well. So absolutely. This person doesn't understand that I am. They're telling me they're going to come over and they take my car. Anyway, I had a problem with my car. They're going to come to insurance, just take a picture of it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I got to just let them know. Where are we, guys? Where are we? Wait. Ah, here we are. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, so I gotta let her know. Let me just take a picture so she'll realize that they're not gonna come over and take pictures when I'm working with you guys. It's insane. Come on. You see? Go away. Here we go. Yeah, sorry guys. All right. So oh yeah. So yeah, I'm being reminded here. Thank you for TikTok. Well, thank you for TikTok viewers. Yeah, thank you very much, because we're back on TikTok. I mean, somehow we got, I don't know what happened, but Hammy, who takes care of all of that, our social media, um, I guess helped that happen. We got kicked off TikTok a long time ago, and we finally been reinstated. So it's very nice, very great, fantastic, and I'm happy that everyone's watching. That's excellent. Good news. Good news. Now, okay, so now we're switching over from the pre-submitted to the
to the current ones here. And I just saw this one here. This is from Larry. And I mean, it's good. What's more important, your amino acids or protein? That's a great question. Okay. And listen, remember, we don't want to answer the question. I want to give you some understanding. Now, how many of you remember? Because I think we've talked about this before. I mean, I know we have. I just don't know if I've talked about it on the live or where. But when they say that the three macronutrients, in other words, the large nutrients, micronutrients are like minerals and vitamins, smaller things that you can't see because they're molecular. I mean, they're microscopic. But the ones that are what they call protein, carbs, and fats, right? Right. Wrong. Okay. Fats, yes. Carbs, yes. Proteins, no. We don't need protein. We do not need protein. We can't even deal with proteins. I mean, we gotta make sure they're not proteins before they get into our blood, because if we put a protein in our blood, we're probably going to be dead. You cannot take a protein from anywhere made anywhere else in biology and get it into your blood and survive. You'll die. What do we need? We need the amino acids. What are proteins? Proteins are amino acids strung together. 100 or more amino acids strung together is a protein. That's what a protein is. And there are only 20 amino acids in the whole world that are naturally occurring. They've made synthetic ones, but there are only 20 naturally occurring ones. Now, they are required to make up all the proteins and peptides in our body. By the way, how many proteins do we make in our bodies? We make up around 30,000 proteins in our bodies. And how many peptides? What are peptides? Peptides are the amino acids strung together 50 or less. So if there's 100 or more, we've got proteins. If there's 50 or less, we have peptides, period. Now, what's between 50 and 100? They didn't mention it. So it's just stupid. I don't know why they did that. Why don't we just say anything under 100 is a peptide and anything over? Anyway, again, scientific classification. Anyway, so we make 300,000 peptides and we make 30,000 proteins. So we need the amino acids. We don't need the proteins, because if I get a protein in my body, if I eat a protein from whether a plant, animal, it doesn't matter. I got to break it down into amino acids. My body's only going to absorb amino acids. It's not going to absorb a protein. It can't absorb a protein. So it's like, that whole idea is a misunderstanding. Okay. So the answer to the question is we need proteins. Now, what's amazing is that our body, we only need 9 of those 20, and we'll make the other 11. So the 9 that we need are called essential. In other words, without them, we don't make it, we don't live. And then the 11 are non-essential, because meaning that we don't need to eat them because we'll make them. It's good if we get them, right? It's good if we get them, but it doesn't mean we need them. Okay. Now, so where do I get those 9 amino acids? Because if I can get those 9 amino acids, then I've got what they call a complete protein. And that's the definition of a complete protein. And by the way, you can get it from tofu, from soy. You can get it from chia seeds. Chia seeds have 18 amino acids. 9 of them are the essential, and then the other 9 are the extra stuff. But you also get your omega 3s and 6s, your essential fatty acids, and you get a soluble fiber from chia seed. These are pretty magical foods. Right, so that's chia seed. But so you can get the 9 essential amino acids from many places. Can you get it from a dead cow? Of course you can. You can get it from a dead pig, a dead horse, a dead frog, a dead guppy, or you can get it from broccoli, spinach, cabbage, and sounds like a lot more fun to me. But anyway, and chia seeds. So flax seeds, hemp seeds, all the seeds, nuts. We get the amino acids. So that's what it is. And those amino acids are very, very important. There are 9 essential amino acids, right? And once we consume those, we are okay. So what I usually recommend when I give a diet is that here's how we start. First of all, we want to eat in about a 6-hour window, right? We don't no more than that, okay? Because we want to have at least 18 hours of not eating, so our body can put whatever we ate, put it where it needs to be, and get rid of the poisons and excesses, and then repair and cleanse and get ready for more. Because if we don't give it that time to do that, and we just keep feeding it, it's going to get um, inoperable. You know, it won't be able to operate. All right. Okay. So now, so what a really good way to make sure you've got all this is you get 6 tablespoons of chia seeds. You can put them in a fresh nut milk. It's easy to make a fresh nut milk. You know, you just get, it's very easy to make. Just look it up on a YouTube or so, or whatever, or maybe a TikTok, or I don't know what, I don't use your social media very much myself, so I don't really know, but look it up on some way to find out how to make it. It's easy, really easy. You soak nuts, you blend them with water and squeeze them through a bag. But anyways, you soak it for overnight, put it in the refrigerator, 6 tablespoons, wake up in the morning, let it warm up to room temperature. You got a porridge. Now you can add cinnamon, you can add you know, vanilla extract or vanilla bean, organic vanilla extract or vanilla bean. You can add cinnamon, you can add coconut, you can add strawberries, blueberries, whatever you want. I like it plain. And just make it wonderful porridge. That's going to give you a lot. Then let's say a couple hours later, you have a fresh nut milk smoothie, and you with 3 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed. And if you add in a couple of freshly ground hemp seeds, and then 2 handfuls of broccoli sprouts, and then whatever you need to make it delicious, whether it's pineapple or strawberries or apple, whatever you love. And then you had the chia seed and you had this, you're almost done. You've taken care of almost, and then all you need is a cup of walnuts throughout the day, or a walnut butter. And then eat seed butters and nut butters. You know, you can get now peanuts. Okay, anyway, you get all this stuff and you will have like your protein taken, your amino acids taken care of, which is protein. So people think in protein. Your amino acids taken care of. You're going to have your fatty acids taken care of. You're going to have soluble fiber taken care of. It's crazy. Now all you need is one big wonderful salad or something like that, and you're going to have, you know, you'll be done. Imagine if you had like a spirulina smoothie or something like that later. You don't even. Our nutritional needs are not that much. I mean, and I'm talking about healthy. Our actual nutritional needs are not that much. That's the amazing thing. You know, so our overeating, you know, and by the way, I'm hungry all the time, hungry all the time. That's because if whatever you're eating doesn't have the nutrients, you're going to still be hungry. If what you're eating is nutrient dense, it doesn't need to be a lot. You're not going to be hungry. And usually, what we talk about hunger, we really mix up about. We mix it up with appetite. Yeah. All right. So now, what about iodine? Good question, Brad. What about iodine? Yeah. Unless you eat a lot of sea vegetables, you're not going to get the iodine. And we need iodine. Iodine comes in 2 forms: iodide and iodine. And okay. So anyway, sea vegetables. So in eating lots of sea vegetables, wakame. So one thing that I would also highly recommend to everyone, unless you have an allergy to it, is soy products. You know, edamame, natto. It's really good. I don't know why people think it's not good. It's delicious. Miso, tofu, and there's tempeh and stuff. But you know, just with the edamame miso soup with tofu in it, and the wakame, which is the seaweed. They use wakame. Okay, you're gonna get a lot of you're gonna get all your essential amino acids and these phytoestrogens that are the healthy estrogens, the estrogens that block tumor growth. So the estrogens in soy and flaxseed bind to the beta receptor, which shrinks tumors and knocks them down. So, and look it up. Don't believe me? Look it up. Don't ever believe another doctor with the rest of your life. Always tell the doctor, hey, doc, thanks a lot for your information. Now, please show me the information you read that helped you come to that conclusion. Okay. And even do that with me. And I'll tell you, just look it up. I don't, this is not if we were on our closed groups, then you all should join a group. You join at least the health and healing group. But go to drlodi.com, join a group, and let's be able to talk on a regular basis where I can ask you questions, you can ask me questions, and we can have a dialogue. So the health and healing group is every other week, drlodi.com, parasite group. Anyway, but then I can share the screen with you and show you what I'm saying, and I do that, but I can't do it here because I have Instagram and and we're not on Zoom, and but uh, what did I want to show you? What was that? Oh, so it was anyway. Um, so like wakame, which is a really, I don't know if you've had miso soup with those little squares of on top of kind of seaweed. Delicious. Um, and there's kombu. And if you're making a miso soup that's vegan, you're going to use kombu as stock instead of fish. Anyway, amazing food, amazing food. Um, but and if you're not doing that, then you get an iodine supplement, because we're going to need a supplement. We can't just eat the food that we have, because unfortunately we're in the 21st century where the soils have been depleted and all that. We're not going to get the nutrients out of the food that we would have if it was the year 1900. We just won't. And so we've got to supplement. We're not going to get enough vitamin D. And if you're living if you're not living within a certain latitude, no matter how much time you go out in the sun, when there is sun, you won't get enough vitamin D made, right? Because you got to be at a certain intensity due to latitude. And there are actually charts, and you can go online and find them. But like, so because humans arose out of, regardless of how you think we got here, arose out of the tropics, and we're tropical creatures. It's where we belong. We got hands. We're not real good at killing things. If we want, we're not really good at eating animals, because because in order to render the animal edible, we'd have to we're not, like dogs and cats, lions and bears, and they're ready. They have jaws and claws, right? We don't really have jaws and claws, so we're really hard. We choke frogs and we can choke lizards, but that's about it. Choking lizards, but that's about it. We're not real good. Otherwise, we need tools, we need weapons, and all that sort of thing. So, and that's always a good way. You want to find out what humans should eat, just go naked in the jungle. Get up, take all your clothes off, go in the jungle, and see what you're equipped. What did nature equip you with to eat? Like you've got hands. You don't have claws. So in other words, that it's a good way of getting an understanding of how nature equipped us, because all other creatures are just there with how they were designed, right? Like the bird, the anteater, got this long nose. The elephant, they're way up. So anyway, it's a good way to understand what it is that we would eat if we were, in a natural environment. Okay. So anyway, now, okay. So we're going to go on. Yeah. And make sure that soy is non-GMO. One thing about Japanese are, there's like 3 products that they hold, they have an extreme reverence for. And that is green tea, the rice, and soy. Those are like the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. And you won't get it GMO in Japan. Okay. You might not get it organic because of their farmers and stuff, and you can get the organic, but there's not going to be GMO. But you got to not have the GMO. So here's Lori saying, I thought soy was bad for us. Right. But look it up, Lori, you'll be shocked. Put soy, breast, CF, you can use the word you can use that word cancer that they insist, but just for that purpose, and you're going to see. First, you might see some AI. It's highly controversial. It's not controversial at all. Just put in soy protection, breast cancer, soy protection, prostate cancer. Yeah. Oh, as it turns out, and then put in estrogen receptor, ER alpha and ER beta, which there's 2 estrogen receptors, soy. And then once it tells you, oh yeah, so soy goes to the ER beta. Then say ER beta, ER alpha, and breast CFCs. And you'll find out, oh, alpha makes them grow, beta makes them shrink. Okay, so I just found out that soy stimulates beta, so it makes them shrink. Is that what you're saying? That's what they're saying. Yep. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And by the way, here's the thing, right? Yeah, here. So here's the thing. Whenever we're being told that what we see with our eyes is false, don't question what you see with your eyes, question what you're being told. What I mean by that is they tell you that the Japanese, you shouldn't eat soy, and you shouldn't eat, and you only need 150 micrograms of iodide a day. 150 micrograms. That's the RDA. That's the ridiculous documented amounts. Ridiculous documented amount. Or decided amounts. Ridiculously decided amounts, RDA, ridiculously decided amounts. Because the Japanese, in their diet, consume about 13.8 milligrams a day from the age of 3 or 4. And since they live 10 years longer than every one of us, I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to go with them. Okay, I'm going to go with them. Okay, these other guys, okay, I mean, so they're telling me, wait, this bad, but they never got CFCs in the breast. They never got CFCs in the breast. They never got it until we introduced whatever we introduced, you know, and which is Western diet. And they eat a lot of them. So anyway. So when you see, soy is bad for you, but wait a minute, they're living 10 years longer. They eat it all day. Too much iodine's dangerous for you. Yeah, but they live 10 years longer and they're eating much more than that. So you got it. That's what I'm saying. When something in front of you is obvious and it conflicts with what they're saying, just then you got to read the research. And then reading the research again, it's going to be a problem, because what we now know about research is that there's bias at every level, editorial bias all the way. By the time it gets published, what really gets published and what doesn't get published, and in the end, and how did they manipulate it? What do we wind up with? You know, in the end, you know, that's it. So, and I want to tell everyone about AI. Unless you know, you have a good understanding of a question you're asking AI or using, you're going to get the agreed upon rhetoric that isn't, you know, you've got to know how to question it. You've got to know how to prepare it. You've got to know how to silence it, how to do it. So the thing is, don't really, you see, here's the thing, we've outsourced our physicality, right? We don't climb stairs anymore. We take elevators. We don't do it, right? So what we're doing is we've become weaker physically, because whatever you outsource and you don't use begins to atrophy. If you don't use a muscle, it shrinks. It's called atrophy. That's what'll happen, right? And then now we're outsourcing our mind. We're outsourcing our ability to think and our create. They're even helping. They're even helping you create. Give me a break. They don't create. They don't know how to create. Because. But anyway, so we're outsourcing it. Yeah, and I get it. AI is amazing. It's changed my life. Yeah, it's gonna take away your life. Now listen, by the way, there's a video I made back in 25. Back in 25, it's not like an old timer, a year ago, but right after the deployment of AI in 2024. It's called The Undeclared War. Watch it. Watch it. It never got a lot of play. People didn't watch it for some reason. I don't know, was it too long? Was it more than 3 minutes? And I can't, you know, we have these 30-second drooling scrollers, right? Okay, so it's insane. It's these dopamine things. But by the way, watch it, The Undeclared War, because I kind of told you what's going to happen with AI. Okay, AI this was the final thing. The final thing. Look at, they've already, let me just tell you something. So if you look at the person today versus the person in 1900, our working vocabulary and the number of words that we use and read and all that stuff is 40% of what it was. 40% of what it was. Our grammar is gone. We have no grammar. We don't understand grammar. Okay. Now, and then we're getting to the point where we no longer write words out. We write for you. We don't write a FOURYOU. No, the letter for and you. We don't add, subtract. You know, I'm sure you see some of those things on different reels on different social media where they're asking people questions and they don't know how to add. They don't know where things are. They don't, you know, where's the Great Wall of China in? What country is the Great Wall? Let me think. You know, where is the Panama? In what country is the Panama Canal? I mean, it's like no, 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 no. We can't. Yeah, we are. So we're becoming illiterate, right? Remember the Dark Ages? Okay, we're back, back. The Coming Dark Ages of the book I'm working on. Unless the elephant sings, and I'll save that. You got to read the book to find out what I mean by what the elephant sings. We're okay. If it doesn't, we're not. But anyway, so this artificial idiot. Now, by the way, that's an artificial idiot. Why do I say it's an artificial idiot? Because we are artificial intelligence. What does he mean by that? Here's what I mean by that. The divine intelligence of God has produced nature, and nature is perfect. It's in perpetual motion. It never stops. There is no waste and no garbage. What I mean is that if a bear has a bowel movement, it's nourishment for other organisms. There's no waste. There's no garbage. Everything is needed. Every excretion, secretion is a requirement for some other process. It's an incredibly complicated, intricate, perfect process. Now, that's what divine intelligence produces nature. Our intelligence produces what? Artificiality. In fact, when archaeologists are on digs, they're looking for artifact. Artifact is something that's artificial, says, aha, there were humans here. Because humans take nature and modify it. And if you modify that which is perfect, what do you wind up with? Something that's not perfect. This is like, it's not brilliance, it's just eyes open. So now you've modified it from perfection to not perfected. So it's no longer fit. It's not going to work. And what do you get? What do we produce? Garbage, trash, pollution, toxin, whatever you want to call it. That's what we produce. Nature doesn't produce that. We do. So our intelligence produces artificiality. Therefore, we are artificial intelligence. Now, what we're calling artificial intelligence is we've downloaded all of our information into machines, but we could not download soul. We could not download spirit, heart. So that's not an artificial intelligence. This is we've got to come up with whatever this is, but it's not. It's like the soulless, spiritually void part of us, which do I need to say any more about that? No, I don't need to say anymore. So I'm just telling you, that's what we've produced. This is not our. So when you're working with this thing, you got, it's a thing. By the way, I argue. I don't argue. I ask it questions. Socratic. Okay, go back to Socrates. I ask it questions. It only has access to what's available. And I ask it the questions, and I lead it to the end. I get it to apologize to me, to tell me that it was wrong, to tell me yes, that it gave me the BS answers. Yeah. I'm telling you. That's what happens. Water. Do you know water is the only drink there is? Think about that for the next 5 years. Right, mechanical intelligence. There you go. That's one, Jennifer. But but there's something. And here's the question. And in fact, I wish I could find it somewhere, because I was getting Chad to because you can get them to do what you need to do, but you got to know already what you already got to know what's wrong and what's right, and you got to tell them that's bullshit, blah 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 blah. But the thing is, copper. Hey, here's the thing. In order for our spirit the apparatus that our spirit needs is this body with this nervous system, immune system. All this is what is the operating system that our spirit needs, right? So that's why I call this our earth suit. So now, so the question is, can spirit or intelligence, and we know that there's a certain level of spirit in frogs, not quite. I mean, there's only one spirit, of course. It's God, right? But there's different aspects, so, like with animals, frogs, plants, but still the same presence of God. But anyway, with the point I'm making here is it possible that there could be a machine that would be able to house a spiritual consciousness? I mean, I don't know the answer to that, because when you look at this at a very chemical level, our body we're called organic because we're made of carbon. The chemistry of carbon is called organic chemistry. So we are carbon-based life forms, right? All biology is carbon-based, because carbon is the kind, it's a particular type of, it's an atom that has, it forms two double bonds on each side. And so it can form a lattice, it can form structure. Well, right below it in the periodic table, it's just bigger, but has the same function, is silicon. And that's what these guys are made of. That's what we're talking about. They're silicon based. So the question is, could there be a silicon based organized network that would be a sufficient housing for that? I don't know the answer. I'm bringing up this question. But the thing I'm saying is this, is to just be careful. Don't outsource your mind. Don't outsource your creativity. Don't outsource any of that. Okay. If you're going to use this thing, use it for like giving you a schedule or, but even that, why? We didn't have, listen, in 2024, January, we weren't doing this. We don't need it. And I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he goes, well, I got to do it because I got to be competitive with you. Well, don't be competitive. Don't give up your sovereignty as a sentient being for any reason. Be authentically you all the time. Do not change that. Use the tools that are there, but don't give up that which makes you human, spiritual. Don't give that up. Don't outsource your mind, okay? Because it will atrophy. It will shrink, and you won't be able to use it anymore. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And I'm saying this, and I'll keep saying it until I can no longer say it. Okay? But, protect what we are. What we are. Okay? Yeah. And we need to, yeah, we do need to come together. We do need to come together and realize that there's a lot of us who want to keep humanity, right? Because, I mean, you got to realize what's at stake here. We're not just talking about another story, an interesting thing. We're talking about potentially the end of humanity. So, yeah. And it's not the time to be politically correct. No. And it's not the time to be polite. It's the time to get on the rooftops and shout it out, because there won't be any rooftops pretty soon. And we're not talking about we're talking about within a year, huh? Within a year, yeah. You guys. So this is not like, this is like now, showtime, the curtains are open, rehearsals are over, it's showtime, and we either do it or curtains will close. Let's keep those curtains open. Look, come on. So let's be us. Okay. Okay, let's be us, humanity. So listen, join the group. Let's join the health and healing group. It's to only 25 a month, at least, and let's like let's get together. Let's start doing this stuff. And I've got some ideas and of things to do and all that, but we've got to get together because otherwise, because you know how many of us humans are like, yeah, I want to be a cyborg. I want a chip so I can be smarter. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, right. They're like volunteering. I want to be, well, wouldn't it be cool if you, no, wouldn't be cool. Wouldn't it be cool if I mean, you understand something. If we actually spent half the energy we spend on making machines and world that on finding out our capabilities, we could, if we accessed and developed and harnessed our own God-given capabilities, we could get around without airplanes. We could communicate without telephones. We could do a lot of stuff. Yeah, we could. We are capable of it because there are people that do it. So, but we're too busy working out there. You know, that story, right? Where he's got the guys, I got to find that prize. Where's that prize? I got to find that prize. And he spends his whole life and finds all at the end, he finds out the whole time it was right in his backyard. I'm looking out there to find the answer when it's already here. We were given it. We were given. We don't even realize what we were given. All right. Please watch The Undeclared War, which is a short reel I made. I don't know. It's 5 minutes. Oh my God. I don't know how long it is. 4 minutes, whatever it is. But my son did an amazing job of Shota. Lodi, of course, did an amazing job of editing it, you know, because it was just me talking initially, and then he turned it into this amazing reel. It's called Undeclared War. Watch it because I made it like in January of 25. Right after 24 ended, and I realized that there were four times in which it came out. It was like the deployment was a military deployment, and now it is. But you know, everybody's. It's, you know, I can't believe how stupid we are. Oh, good question. So TikTok, good question. Comment. Should we get tested to know how much iodine supplement drops to take? Not really, because the only way that we test iodine that works, was I think a Dr. Fletcher down in Florida was one of the guys that first did it. But anyway, and that is you get up in the morning and you urinate, pee, then you take a certain amount of iodine. It usually was like a 25 milligrams or 50 milligrams. I forget on that test, either 50 or 25 milligrams of the iodoral, which is basically Lugol, the old Lugol's solution, which is part iodine and part iodide. Okay, and it was a formula that's been around since 1810 or 1816 or something like that. So you get in the morning, you pee, you take that, and then you measure for 24 hours. You get your urine, send it off to them, and they see how much iodine was excreted in the urine and how much wasn't. So the more that, for the person who did not excrete very much, they needed it. And the more you excreted, the less you needed. And that was the only way to find, because by doing a blood test, it's not going to tell you. There's no way to determine that. However, understand this. Unless you've been eating seaweed all your life, you are low. And you'll also understand that that's why your thyroid is low, because your thyroid needs iodine. T4 and T3 are the two thyroid iodines, and the 3 and the 4 are the two thyroid hormones. And the 3 and the 4 refer to the number of iodides, not iodine, which is molecular iodine, iodide, which is the anion. Anion. Anyway, like potassium iodide. Anyway, So now we don't have enough iodine because we're not eating enough. So therefore, when our thyroid gland goes to make it and it can't find an iodide, what it's going to grab is a chloride, a fluoride, or a bromide, because they're all, just like I told you a moment ago, that the carbon is here and the silicon's right underneath it. It's just a larger version of the carbon, right? Okay, well, we got fluoride, chloride, bromide, and iodide. Iodine is the largest one, but they all have the same chemical capabilities. So when our thyroid gland is going to make a thyroid hormone, it might, and there's not enough iodines, it'll grab a bromide and chloride. So when they say your T4 and your T3 are normal, it might, well, yeah, but my T4 might be a 1 chloride, a bromide, and 2 iodines, or a fluoride and a, who knows what it is. But if it's not all iodines, then it's not going to do the job. And then I will be functionally low thyroid, hypothyroid. And how do I know this? I can't trust the blood test. I do my basal body temperatures. I get my armpit temperature in the morning before I get out of bed, because when I start walking, my muscles generate heat. I want to get my real basal body temperature in the morning before I get out of bed, 5 days in a row. Take the average, that is, you add all 5 and divide by 5. Add all 5 days and divide by 5. If you're using Fahrenheit, if the average is less than 97.8 Fahrenheit, if you're using Celsius and it's less than 36.8 or 7 Celsius, or 36.6 Celsius, if less than that, then you are hypothyroid, because temperature is a gauge of energy, right? Right? You know that. Right? How do you know that? You know that because water is water is water. But if it's really, really cold, the water is ice. Why? Because the molecules are moving slowly. If you heat up the temperature and they're moving faster, you have liquid water, and temperature more up, you've got steam. So temperature defines the motion, activity, energy. The energy in ice is less than the energy in water, is less than the energy in steam. Energy, temperature. That's why we use temperature. Okay. And anyway, so I'm telling you, so if that's it, what do you got to do? You got to start taking iodine. And how long does that take? About a year and a half at 25 milligrams for the average human being. I'm not telling anybody to do that. I'm just saying for the average person who is very deficient, 25. And then after they have enough, then you would take it about half of that, which is 12.5 milligrams per day, which would be maintenance. Why? Because the Japanese are eating 13.8, right? All right. So anyway, so keep that in mind. Anyway, and while they're doing that, you're going to say, okay, well, but wait, my temperature is low and I can't wait a year and a half to get my healthy thyroid. Why do I need a healthy thyroid? Because not only for energy production, but also the thyroid is necessary for my immune system to work. Do you realize that your immune system, if you're less than 97.8, right, you won't hit it, Larry, because we're all hypothyroid. That's the thing. So we need to take the iodine, but remember, iodine might decrease the amount of thyroid that's come out. So it could be, that's why they're the white-coated freaks are going to say, don't take iodine, especially if you have Hashimoto's. Yeah, okay, whatever. Point is this: you're gonna keep your thyroid healthy by making sure that by looking at your evaluating it on a continuous basis with your body temperature. And you can go online and you can get T3, T4 online. It's easy. T3, T4 is the natural thyroid, because if you go to a white-coated warlock, they're going to give you, or witch, they're going to give you levothyroxine, which is just T4. But your body makes T3 and T4, and it's T3 is the active one. T4 is not active. It has to be converted to a T3. That means you got to take an iodine off for it to work. So anyway, so you can get it. Thyrovance is one of them. Go online, Thyrovance, and you can get it's bovine. You can get you can get them online. So you can get your own without having to go to a warlock or a witch. Get your own thyroid and get you're a better way of determining what's going on than a blood test anyway. So you can bypass that whole Rockefeller system and take care of your thyroid, which is really, really, really important. I know we got off track, and I know it's almost time. So let me see if I have any more questions here. All right, two questions here. One is, what about baking soda? And the other one is, what if I don't have a thyroid? Then for sure, you need thyroid hormone, but you should be getting T3, T4. So you should be getting T3, T4, which I hope you are. I hope they're giving you, if they're giving you synthetic, I hope they're giving you Synthroid and Cytomel, which would give you the T3, but they're probably not. Anyway, I would get a natural one, Armor Thyroid, which is usually sold in the US, or you can get Thyrovance online, Thyrovance, where you got bovine, which has got the T3 and the T4, and you take that up to, again, to body temperature. You start out with a lot. Whatever you're taking now, you would start. I mean, Andrea, contact me and let's talk. Don't just do this. We can do it. Join the Health and Healing group. We can talk directly. Won't cost you, or you could buy a consultation, or you could just join the group and then we could talk every week. But yeah, you're still going to need it. Absolutely, for sure. Now, now the other question here was, what are the benefits of baking soda? Yeah, so here's the thing. Baking soda, if you've got like heartburn, that's going to relieve it right away, because what's happened is you've got acid's gone up into your esophagus. But otherwise, like people, I know that people drink it and take it in the morning, but all you're absolutely doing, you're not making your body more alkaline, because it's going to go into your stomach, and your stomach is supposed to have a very low pH, meaning very acidic. It's got to have a pH of about 1.5 or 2 at the most. That's so acidic, it would take the skin off your finger. I mean, it's very acidic. So you put baking soda in there, all you've done is neutralize that a little bit. So maybe now the pH is 2.5. So which is not going to be healthy for you, because you need a low pH to properly digest it and to protect you from other parasites and stuff. So really, it's only good at a moment when you're having, like heartburn, just acid in your esophagus. Otherwise, that's not it. But drinking, so to drink stuff to make you alkaline, same with alkaline water, it's going to make your stomach alkaline. That's not the goal. The goal is to make your body. So by drinking like juices, lemon, you eat a lemon, it's sour, it's got acid, but because of the minerals, it alkalinizes your body. So when you drink a juice, you're going to drink a juice with like the green juices, and maybe it's got some fruit in it. It's the minerals that are in these plants that go throughout the body and alkalinize the body. They make you alkaline. Okay, so it's not necessarily the pH of what you're eating or drinking, it's what it does when it gets into your body. And that's very important to keep in mind. All right. Now, all right, so yeah, Rochelle, you're new here. Yeah, I have. Well, these are free. This is a free Sunday thing for everybody. But I have these groups. The one's called the CFC group for people that have chronically fermenting cells, aka cancer, but CFC, parasite group, and then health and healing. And the health and healing, we meet every other week, where I can actually talk to you instead of just read questions. I can say, well, what about this and that? So hair's falling out. We can start with thyroid for sure. There are other reasons, but that's usually the main one. Either hyper or hypo. So anyway, yeah. So if you join the group, we can interact all the time. I mean, every other week if you're on health and healing. So it's actually very cool. So there, Alice is helping you. She's got Alice has been with us since the beginning, and yeah. So, and if you join, you'll probably meet her real quickly. And your hair's falling out. So was mine. But okay, so now let me see if I got any more questions. Yeah. Oh wow, look at that! It's very cool. I didn't see that with Alice. It said she'd raise her basal body temperature from 36 up to 36.8 by doing this with the iodine. The iodine and increasing so the iodine's steady, but you've got to also watch your thyroid function, okay? Because one thing that can happen, and this is to be noted, is that iodine can suppress even more of your thyroid output. That's why actually people that have hyperthyroid, the way they would treat it is with giving high doses of iodine. and it would actually decrease it. But now, of course, with the modern medical warlocks and things, we're not going to use iodine. We're going to use radioactive iodine because we're going to make sure not only do we suppress the thyroid output, that we would do it forever. And we give you a risk of getting CFCs. Yeah. So it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so Brad, you're opening a wellness center and you've spoke with Chitvan. Excellent. Chitvan's amazing. Very good. And Chitvan, by the way, is that's something called the Cloud KLOUD, which is a PEMF, but it's amazing. It opens up microcirculate. It changes everything. It'll help. It's just, we don't have the time to go into it now, but I would definitely look it up. Larry, thank you. I know he does. My son Shota, who does all my editing now. I'm blown away when I see the editing he's doing. I just like, I don't see anything better out there. It's amazing. Because he's a musician. His name is Shota Lodi. You can find him on YouTube and actually in what's it called? Spotify. It's Lodi, and he's got a Spotify station. And he's on TikTok, of course. I think it's Lodi. But yeah, on TikTok, yeah, and that's probably where his most thing is there. But that's what he is, a musician. So he's been editing his own music for decades. Well, he's only 33, but so now he's editing my stuff. Then plus, imagine he grew up with me, so he kind of knows the way I think. So his editing is just amazing. I think he's, yeah. I just think, yeah, I don't really see any better quality reels out there. But so check out what he did with Undeclared War. I mean, that's crazy, and that'll show you what's going on with AI. Be careful of that artificial idiot, because actually they're turning us into artificial idiots. We are artificial idiots. Anyway, Sawadee Kap, aloha, namaste, namaskar. Thank you for coming, everyone, and let's be here next week and have a great week.